One of my claims to fame as a long-term traveler who likes to travel in style for less is that almost all of my long-haul flights are in business class for less than the price of an equivalent economy ticket. Today, I'm going to show you how I do it. This is Travel Hacking 101, the ultimate guide to air miles, frequent flyer programs to use, travel reward strategies, airline reward charts, and tips on earning more air miles than you ever thought was possible, often without even flying. Let's do this. My travel hacking journey started about 14 years ago when I learned about a special online shopping portal miles accumulation promotion that basically resulted in me earning enough miles to fly anywhere in the world in business class, return. And I still had enough miles left over for a domestic return flight as well. My net cost for these miles was about $1,000. And out of that, I got over $10,000 in flights. Even if I had done those exact flights in economy, I still would have spent over $2,000. And once I experienced a long-haul business class flight, I was kind of ruined. There was no going back. Since then, I have gone pretty deep into the world of leveraging frequent flyer miles to get the most out of the experience. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it is a lot of work. Although I save thousands of dollars every year on the net cost of flights, and I get to enjoy the luxury of business class, I have spent a ton of time researching and learning about travel reward strategies, keeping up with the latest trends, and every time I book a flight, it takes a long time to make sure that I'm getting the best value for my miles. This means right now, I've got good news and bad news. The good news is you don't need to know absolutely everything that I know in order to get started with frequent flyer miles. The bad news is there's no way I can teach you everything I know in just one video. So today I am starting with a super duper overview of frequent flyer mile basics. I'm going to touch on each of the three major elements of travel hacking so you can get a good idea of what this game is all about and how to start playing it. I feel like this is just the start of what could probably be a series of videos about travel hacking and air mile strategies. So, as I'm going through the various elements of this episode, please do feel free to leave a comment letting me know which parts you'd like me to go deeper on. And of course, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell for notifications so you can be alerted when I come out with subsequent videos on this and other travel topics. Now, before I get into the first element of travel hacking, there are a few ground rules for you to keep in mind as you develop your own strategy. First of all, whether they're called travel points, travel miles, air miles, frequent flyer miles, or anything similar, they're all basically the same thing. They are a points-based currency issued by airlines intended to develop customer loyalty. You can accumulate these miles in a few different ways, which we'll discuss shortly, and you can redeem them for free flights, upgrades, and more. Before you even dip a toe into these deep waters, there is one key question that is important to ask, and that is, what are your travel goals and aspirations? How would you like to use these miles? Are you saving up for a dream trip to Hawaii? Maybe you want to stay in one of those fancy overwater bungalows in the Maldives. Or maybe you just want to fly across the country with the family for a change of scenery. There are no wrong answers here, but your accumulation strategy may differ depending on what it is that you want to do. By having your sights set on a travel goal, it will not only help you create and focus on the right accumulation strategies, but it will also help you get the most value out of your points. Earning miles for the sake of earning mile for a rainy day is generally considered a dangerous strategy for a variety of reasons that include miles expiring or airlines devaluing their miles. Stay with me here. I know I'm throwing a lot of terms and concepts at you today, but I will touch on it all, and by the end of this video, you'll have a bird's eye overview of the travel hacking game. First up, let's talk about accumulation, because you got to have miles to use them. And the number one thing to know about when it comes to developing your personal mile strategy is to be familiar with the alliances. There are three major airline alliances: Star Alliance, One World, and SkyTeam. Many of the world's major airlines belong to one of these three alliances. From an accumulation standpoint, these alliances are important because you can fly on one airline and use that flight to accumulate miles on another airline within that alliance. The trick is to familiarize yourself with these alliances and to focus on your accumulation strategy on only one airline within an alliance. If you have miles in different airline programs, they can't be combined even if they're in the same alliance. So in choosing which airline to focus on, the easiest way to get started is to look at your current flying habits. You'll get the best bang for your buck in accumulating miles on the airline that you fly the most with. If you happen to book a flight with a different airline within that alliance, you can choose to attribute those miles to your main program of choice in the alliance. By the way, it's important to note that membership to airline loyalty programs is 100% free. It doesn't cost you anything to earn miles. So if you're not earning miles for every flight you take, you're effectively leaving money on the table. Flying isn't your only way to accumulate miles. In fact, some of the best ways to earn frequent flyer miles doesn't even involve leaving your home, much less your hometown. For example, you can use online shopping portals to earn bonus miles on everyday purchases. Once you've chosen your airline of preference, check to see if they have an online shopping portal, as many do. When you're buying something online, all you have to do is log into one of these portals and then click through to the online store that you were going to buy stuff at anyway. Nothing changes. The price is exactly the same, and you are still on the exact same website. But by having clicked through the airline's portal first, your purchase will earn you miles, and sometimes a lot of them. These portals often feature deals where you can earn up to 20 miles per dollar spent. So if you're making a major purchase, these miles will add up fast. One of the most popular and passive ways to earn miles is with credit cards. By owning the right credit card, you will earn miles on absolutely everything you charge to the card. And depending on what it is you're buying, you will earn bonus miles as well. For example, one of my cards gives me 5 points for every dollar that I spend on restaurants and groceries. So I always use that card for those purchases. Another card gives me 5 points for every dollar I spend on certain hotels. So I use that card for those hotels. Now, you don't have to own a ton of credit cards to get into frequent flyer miles. You can start with one good overall card that matches your spending habits, and you can go from there. The other way to earn miles with credit cards, and this is huge, is the credit card sign-up bonuses. By choosing the right credit card and simply applying for it, and sometimes spending a minimum dollar amount within the first few months, you can earn bonus miles, like a lot of them. I have on more than one occasion earned enough bonus miles with one credit card application to fly long haul in business class and then some. Even if that credit card has an annual fee, the miles more than make up for it, and my net cost of flying in business class is still way less than what I would pay for an equivalent economy ticket. If this is all starting to sound a little overwhelming, then today's sponsor, Travel Freely, will help. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced miles enthusiast, this free app will simplify your journey to free travel. Travel Freely is the first app of its kind, and it's available as a mobile app and on your desktop browser. Both work seamlessly together. It's your guide to understanding and leveraging credit card rewards. There's a step-by-step guide to help a beginner get started with points and miles. Then the app puts all the details on autopilot. You'll get alerts for bonus deadlines, annual fees, and customized recommendations through their card genie. This is not a corporate thing. It was created by a school teacher named Zach, who I personally met over 4 years ago when he was just getting Travel Freely off the ground. Now, it's important to note 3 things. First, Travel Freely prioritizes your privacy. It doesn't require bank login details or any confidential information. Second, it's 100% free. No premium plan, no ads. Travel Freely may earn a commission if you apply for a card through their link, but unlike other credit card sites and tools, they always recommend the best offers for you, and they'll even prioritize offers that don't earn them any commission. Third, it's only for US residents. Travel hacking is very different depending on where you live. US residents have by far the largest selection of credit cards to choose from, which makes Travel Freely all the more important to make sure that you've got the right ones for your travel goals. The payoff? On average, members earn over $2,000 in free travel annually, and couples can earn even more. With over 2,000 5-star reviews and a perfect 5.0 rating in the App Store, users don't lie, Travel Freely is a trusted choice for savvy travelers. So sign up today and let Travel Freely teach you the ropes and keep you organized on your journey to free travel. Go to theprofessionalhobo.com/travelfreely to get started. Travel Freely is one of a few tools to manage all these air miles that you're going to be accumulating. Everybody I know who is remotely serious about travel hacking generally has a bunch of credit cards and membership in a bunch of airline programs. And managing all of this is a task. This is one of many reasons why I suggest focusing your earning efforts on just one airline in each of the alliances. The other reason why it's important to focus your earning is because points are generally not transferable between airlines. If you have 10,000 points in 10 different programs and a basic redemption costs 12,000 points, you have a lot of points, but they're pretty much useless. If instead you have 100,000 points in one program, ka-ching, that is probably going to be more than enough for you to cash in on at least one business class long-haul flight. That said, despite your best efforts, you may still find yourself flying on an airline that's not in the alliance that you're really focusing on, or may not even be a member of any alliance. I still say join that program and earn the miles for that flight anyway. It doesn't cost you anything, and you may find that down the road you'll have a use for those miles. A few years ago, I was staying and traveling in a part of the world where Spirit Airlines had the best deals for a route that I flew regularly. Spirit Airlines doesn't belong to any alliance, so I just signed up and accumulated miles in Spirit's program, not really expecting to ever make use of those miles. Lucky for me, I managed to accumulate enough miles for a basic short-haul flight, and I saved a few $100s just because I said yes to earning miles. Also, remember that every family member who's flying can earn miles. The only person who can earn miles for a flight is the person who's actually taking the flight. Doesn't matter who paid for it. So if you're buying tickets for multiple people, make sure that everybody has their own loyalty program memberships and are accumulating miles, kids included. Some miles programs allow for family sharing or pooling of miles, which can be useful down the road. Others allow for miles transfers between family members and sometimes with bonuses at certain times of year. But the first step is making sure that every butt in every seat is earning miles. What this all means, of course, is that at some stage of the game, you may be keeping track of a lot of different mileage programs. And to make things even more complicated, some airline programs have expiration periods. For example, if you earn miles with American Airlines in October of 2024 and your account is completely inactive for 2 years, as in you don't earn or redeem miles in any way, then after 2 years, those miles you earned will expire. There are a few different ways to track your frequent flyer miles balances. A trusted spreadsheet is, of course, one of those ways. If that feels like a little too much work or you're not a spreadsheet maven, there are some free sites that you can use that sync your various airline program memberships and display everything that you need to know in one place. A Word wallet is one of those tools. Accumulating air miles is probably the most important part of travel hacking. Without the miles, you won't get very far. And managing your miles is important, so you know how much you have and in what programs, and you can stay on top of your credit cards and mileage expiry dates. Redemption is where the rubber hits the road. I can't possibly give you everything you need to know about redemption or even a fraction of it in this video. There are literally entire websites with new content published daily dedicated to helping people get the best redemption value for their loyalty points. Strategies change all the time, and if you were this far into the hobby, chances are you're also going to be subscribing to similar newsletters and websites and reading up on this information. But if you happen to be sitting on a ton of miles and have more money than time, there are services that will help you redeem your points for whatever flight itinerary you need. Services like these are really handy for corporate travelers, for example. Your company might be flying you around the country or around the world regularly, and you are earning miles for all these flights. At least, hopefully you are. You may not have the wherewithal to learn how to redeem these miles properly, but you know you have enough for something really cool like a round-the-world business class ticket. In cases like these, you might just want to hire a service to help you use your miles to book that ticket. Most of us, though, are not in that situation. We've slowly accumulated and clawed our way up to having enough miles to finally meet that bucket list travel goal. Here are a few tips to getting the best redemption flight. First of all, get ready to spend a lot of time looking for flights, because if you really want to make sure that you are getting the best value for your miles, you're probably going to be exploring a bunch of different options. I'll dig into this in much more detail in a future video if that's something that you indicate that you want in the comments. For now, here are the top things to look out for. For the most part, long-haul flights, especially in business class, are going to represent the best value per mile, which means when you're doing a search, it's important to take a look at the equivalent cash fare. Let's take a look at this flight on American Airlines from New York to Paris. The economy flight costs $621 or 29,000 points. 621 divided by 29,000 equals 0.021, which means you're getting 2.1 cents in value per mile spent on this fare. The same flight in business class costs $2,932 or 78,000 points. 2932 divided by 78,000 equals 0.037, which means you're getting 3.7 cents per mile. So from a sheer mathematical point of view, in this case, you are getting almost double the amount of value for your air miles by flying this route in business class. But sometimes it doesn't work out this way. In researching for this video, I looked at another route from New York to Madrid, and for some reason, the business class flight cost way more miles. And in the end, the cost per mile was about the same as economy. This is because some airlines have something known as dynamic pricing, which means that the number of miles you need for a redemption changes all the time, depending on a bunch of factors that we have very little control over or, frankly, ability to predict. Generally speaking, the best way to avoid dynamic pricing anomalies is to book your reward airfare as early as possible. Also, most airlines only allocate a limited number of seats per flight to people using miles. So if you're flying on a popular route, you may need to book your reward seat many months in advance. A classic example of this is if you are flying to New Zealand or Australia, where rewards tickets are often fully booked up 10 months in advance. While searching for a reward airfare, keep an eye on those taxes. Depending on the airline and the airports that you are flying into or out of, you might find that in addition to the miles you spend, you'll be on the hook for taxes that can range from a few dollars to a few hundred or even a few $1,000s. So in some cases, it might make more sense to fly into or out of a different airport and to book a separate flight or train or bus ticket to get to or from your main flight. Do you see what I mean when I say this is complicated? Although I am good at getting mad value for my frequent flyer miles, I spend a huge amount of time searching for the best redemptions. I play with different flight dates and airports and rewards programs and airlines and more. And sometimes it can be pretty overwhelming. But as soon as I get to the airport and can take advantage of special priority lineups before relaxing in the business class lounge and then making my way to a long-haul flight where I have a lie-flat bed, linen table service with multi-course fine dining, and more, then I don't mind all that time that I spent working those miles. Believe it or not, this is just an overview of frequent flyer miles and travel hacking. I didn't even get into universal miles. That's a whole thing. I could do separate episodes going deeper on accumulation strategies and redemption strategies. I could talk about special rules and tips to get the most value for your miles. And I could even do specific episodes on specific programs and the best ways to use credit cards to level up your frequent flyer mile strategies. If you're interested in me producing more content like this, please let me know in the comments. And if this video is older and you're just watching it for the first time now, please check the description. If I've already created more episodes about this topic, I will update the description with links to these related videos. Speaking of related videos, check the next screen for a few that are especially picked for you. Clicking on these and continuing to watch tells YouTube that my content is useful and entertaining to you, which in turn helps me help more people like you travel smart in style. I'm Nora Dunn, aka the Professional Hobo, and I'll catch you next time.